if you're not good at something, this is the best part. I tell my kids this is that in school, you got to do everything. All right. You're a generalist. You do everything. Math, science, English, French, social science, whatever. All right. You're doing everything. You have to learn everything.
Yeah.
Then when you're here, right, George, you're sitting here. If you're good at sales, if you're good at working with people, you do that. If you're not good at something, I'm not good at changing the toilet. Right. Let's say I am, but let's say I'm not good at it. I'm going to outsource that.
Yeah.
If I don't want to snake out a sewer line, I'll outsource that. Right. I don't even have to be there. I can be across the street. Right. I can get my contractors and my plumbers to do it for me. Right. But the best part of working is that know what you're good at. If I'm good at driving around drinking coffee all day and just looking at the properties and overseeing things, and I'm good at that, I'll do it. Right. If I'm not good at something like marketing, I'll get somebody else to do it. If I'm not good at snake out the sewer lines, I'll get somebody else to do it. So work to what you're good at and outsource the bad stuff. The stuff that you're not good at, get rid of it because you're never going to do it, right? You're not going to like it, number one, and you're not going to do a good job at it, right? So if you can, it's just always the cost factor, right?
Yeah.
Of can I afford it, right? If I have to paint, I have to paint.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my sort of getting into. Where did we stop off at? So, hit Hamilton. And then weathered that storm. And then 2013-ish is when I wanted to, number one, buy a McDonald's franchise.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if people know about that. I was like, I had this money. I sold my triplex, my downtown Toronto property, which I bought it for $197,500.
Wow.
And sold it. Had a little bit of money. Sold it for, it wasn't that much. It's like $450 or $480 or something. And then had a little bit of money, and then nobody wanted to partner with me. Like nobody. I asked my friend, and my friend goes, I don't have any money. Oh, don't worry, I have the money.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need you to flip the burgers with me. I'll help flip. Like during the day, because I had 2 kids, or I think I had 2 kids at that time. We have 4 right now. I was like, would you want to flip burgers with me? This is a franchise, dude. It's great. And he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's my good friend. Albert is his name. So he didn't want to flip burgers with me, and I heard that now it's $800,000 unencumbered money that you have to sit on to get a franchise, and I'm not sure what it makes. At that time, it was making $175,000 net per partner. But that's sort of my journey, and then bang, it's hit the multifamily.
Yeah.
Then I hit my 18 unit, and it's a 51 bed in Waterloo, right across from Laurier. Is it 51 or 52? I remember now. But it's 18 units basically. It's 16 threes, 1 2, and 1 bachelor.
Wow.
So it's easy. You know what? When you get into the bigger stuff, because the cash flow is a little bit better, you can afford to pay your supers, your landscapers, things like that, and it just makes, because once you're earning a little bit more money, it does, like the building itself, right? You don't have to pull the money out, but once you start earning, once the cash flow is a little bit better, it makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
When we bought that triplex, I was doing that sewer line, right? But I got my contractor to rent an auger, and he was doing it and I was doing it, right? You just close your mouth, right? If it splashes up on you, right? So it's not hard, right? But the smaller buildings, the smaller houses are harder to cash flow. Then when I hit the Waterloo, then I hit Kitchener, and then started building from there. It just made sense because I knew how to scale it. The property was generating better income, and it just made so much more sense.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. You obviously you've been through a lot, and the Hamilton thing was a huge loss for you. You lost a big chunk of money during that, and we were chatting before we got on the podcast that basically the tenants were on like disability and whatnot, and they would pay for the first 2 months and then just cancel their payments after that. So you were stuck with tenants that you couldn't kick out for a few months.
That's right.
And you were taking out money from your personal RSP and whatnot to cover the payments.
That's right.
And that was 3 buildings that you owned. You said 28 units, right?
Yeah, it was 28 units. It was an 8. Yeah. It was an 2 8-plexes and a 12-plex.
Yeah.
And it was, because I was telling George before this, when I hit Hamilton, I go, hey, people on assistance, there's nothing wrong with them, right? There really isn't. You can't discriminate, but I don't discriminate. I do allow them. The only thing is that I just need a cosigner from them. it's just because of the history that I had.
Yeah.
And when they get a cosigner, you know what? Usually everything is good, right? But right when they get on it, when I let them in, sign the lease,
Yeah.
and these people didn't have cosigners. This is in Hamilton.
Mhm.
They were direct pay at the beginning, and bang, 2 months off, like 2 months in, nothing.
Mhm.
They're off because they have the right to do that. So I'm out. Their rent is even at that time, let's say $600 to $800.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I can remember. So their welfare payments for somebody on OW, we call it Ontario Works, was $535. I'm not
Mhm.
sure how much it is now, um, but $535. If they're getting paid $535 and my rent is already $600, right? I was like, it didn't make
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah.
Like at that time, I wasn't aware, but some of these people said that they were working, they could afford it,
Mhm.
and that's something that you have, just do your proper procedures, right?
So what would you do differently then?
This,
Because at the time, obviously, it was a
what,
different time and different place.
yeah,
You didn't get the same kind of tenants that you're getting now in
yeah.
Hamilton. So would you have just avoided that whole project, or would you still have purchased those buildings and done it differently?
I would have done it differently.
Yeah.
What I would have done is that I would have taken a look at who's the bad apples there, get them out, because there
Mhm.
were actually one or two people that constantly had parties. And honestly, I would like to meet all the tenants, because when people say that they have kids, some kids are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
these teenagers, they go, "Oh, we have a young 13-year-old." No, it wasn't 13. He was like 16.
Mhm.
And 16, he was at home. He got kicked out of school,
Yeah.
right? And he was like, his rap music was, you can hear it across the street. That's
Yeah.
how bad it was.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. I listen to rap too, right?
Yeah.
So, but it was blasting. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then your question was, what would I do differently? I would select them differently in a way that I would get cosigners.
Mhm.
I would get all their information, talk to their tenants. So number one is two cosigners that working,
Mhm.
right? At least 5 years. So the cosigners is working for at least 5 years, have about 45 to maybe $50,000 of income
Mhm.
per year, right? And what else? Do a credit check on them. Credit check is the history, but what I want to do is that I want to be able to go after them,
Mhm.
right? Um, if they're about 64 and they're about to retire, that's not really the cosigner material, right?
Mhm.
So just make sure that that person, yeah, they're on welfare, but hey, do you have a cosigner? Maybe their worker, right? Usually the worker doesn't sign, but let's say they're the friends, so they're workers, so they're social worker, whatever.
Mhm.
Teachers or their doctor can co-sign for them, right? I
Mhm.
always ask, like, hey, can somebody co-sign for you? So
Yeah.
that's number one. Make sure that you do your screening down to a pat, like you know what you're getting into, right? Go to their unit, the current unit. Say, hey, okay, well, you've seen this unit. Do you mind if I just drop by at your unit
Mhm.
now?
Mhm.
Okay, I would like to sign the papers, and be upfront with them, because just tell them, do you mind? Because I want to know how you live, right? And some of
Mhm.
them are very honest and they're open. They go, okay, yeah, come on over,
Mhm.
right? I've seen some really nice ones. It's one of them. I seen like it was terrible, George. It was crazy. I walked in and there's dog shit everywhere. I was like, I looked at the pit bull. I'm like, oh my goodness, friendly pit bull.
You just take the paperwork and
I
walk
was like,
out.
yeah, I looked at it, I walked around. I go, you know what? This is, I'm not going to proceed with this,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
I don't give a reason, right? I don't have to,
Mhm.
right? I think they can smell the reason, right? That was bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the screening process is crucial. So that's what I would do. That's something different that I would do now.
Mhm.
Okay, the deal seems to be good. The property in itself is fine.
You think you can make it work if you can go back in time
Yeah,
and know what you know now, you could have made it
exactly.
work? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the variables is this: the building itself is just a building,
Mhm.
right? All of the other stuff is um, it changes. Like the human factor of real
Yeah.
estate is what you have to be careful of.
That's the